Hello everybody and welcome back to the latest Kids Connection. I hope you've had a fantastic week this week. So what were we looking at last week? Can you remember the Bible character? It was our first lady and it was Sarah. And we looked all about and tried to understand more about how God keeps his promises, because he gave Sarah a baby when she was super old and she didn't expect it. In fact, she expected it so little, she laughed when she heard it. But then at the end of the story, she laughs with joy because she received her baby that God promised, which is pretty cool for her and all of us, because it's a sign that God keeps his promises. So our memory verse was Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. We're going to move on now and look at the next Bible character that gets mentioned in the book of Hebrews chapter 11. But before we get to that, let's enjoy our song.
Chase your dreams. Come, my Lord, awaken holy fire. We are turning from our sin. We are praying once again. Come, my Lord, awaken holy fire. We are aching for the real thing. Hearts are open wide. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Yeah! Revival start in us. Set your holy spark in us. Send us out in resurrection power. History is about to change. We are rising once again. Send us out in resurrection power. We are aching for the real thing. Hearts are open wide. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. For your glory, for your fame. In this darkness, light a flame in us. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. Burn like a star, light a fire in our hearts. For your glory, for your fame. In this darkness, light a flame in us.
I hope you had a fantastic time with the song and did some awesome singing and and dancing. If you did, make sure you capture it on film or take a picture and post it on the Facebook group. So we're going to move on to a new character today in the Bible, and that is Joseph. And we're going to do this over 2 weeks, so this is part 1. Now Joseph, he went through some pretty tough stuff that we're going to find out all about in a minute. So I was thinking, what would be a good memory verse? What could we do for our new memory verse? And I came up with one from a book of the Bible called Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11. And it is, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." Now, I think that Joseph would have liked that memory verse because he had some pretty tough time. I think he'd have really loved to know that God had a plan for him. Let's check out the story now.
The Faithful Hall of Fame, Joseph. So this is Joseph. Hey! You see, Joseph was the son of Israel and Rachel. Israel loved Joseph more than all 12 of his sons. In fact, he made Joseph a coat to show him how much he loved him. When Joseph's brothers saw this, they hated Joseph. One night, Joseph had a dream. When he awoke, Joseph told the dream to his brothers. He said, "Listen to this dream I had. We were gathering grain when suddenly my bundle of grain rose up and all of you bowed to me." This made his brothers hate Joseph even more. And they said, "You're gonna rule over us?" Then Joseph had another dream. And he told it to his brothers and his father. He said, "Listen, I had another dream. And this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." This time Israel heard the dream and rebuked Joseph, saying, "Will your mother and brothers and I actually come and bow down before you?" The brothers were even more angry when they heard the second dream. Israel, however, decided to think about what Joseph was saying. One day, Joseph's brothers were working when they saw Joseph coming to meet them. One of his brothers mocked him and said, "Here comes the dreamer. Come on now, let's kill him and throw him away to be devoured by a ferocious animal. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." One of the brothers named Reuben wanted to rescue Joseph, so he said, "Let us not take his life. Instead, throw him in the pit."
Yeah.
So when Joseph came to his brothers, they attacked him. They took the robe their father had given Joseph. They hoisted Joseph up and threw him into the well. Then they saw a group of men from Midian coming towards them. Judah thought it would be a good idea to sell Joseph to these men. So the brothers sold Joseph to the merchants for 20 shekels. The brothers then took the coat of many colors back to their father and made him believe that Joseph had been killed. Israel wept for his son whom he loved. Meanwhile, Joseph was taken as a slave to Egypt to work in the house of a man named Potiphar, for Joseph's story was only just beginning. This is Joseph, who was the son of Israel and Rachel. He was his father's favorite, so his brothers hated him and sold him into slavery. You see, Joseph was taken to Egypt, and Potiphar, one of the Pharaoh's officials, bought him for his household. God was with Joseph, and he did well in Potiphar's house. Potiphar saw that God made everything Joseph did a success, Aha! So he put Joseph in charge of his whole house.
Yeah!
And God blessed Potiphar's house because of this. Potiphar's wife saw how well Joseph was doing in the house, and she wanted to make him do bad things. Joseph ran away from her because he wanted nothing to do with someone who would try to make him do the wrong thing. This made Potiphar's wife angry, and she wanted to be rid of Joseph. So she lied and made Potiphar believe that Joseph had done the bad things that she wanted him to do. Potiphar burned with anger against Joseph and sent him to prison. While Joseph was in prison, again, he did well, and the warden soon made him responsible for all that was done there. God was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh was having unsettling dreams. Pharaoh did not understand his dreams, so he sent for Joseph. Pharaoh asked Joseph to tell him the meaning of his dreams. With God's help, Joseph told Pharaoh that the dreams told of what could come in the future, and he explained all the dreams to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh believed that what Joseph was saying was true. He trusted Joseph as a wise man, and he put him in charge of the land of Egypt, of Pharaoh's palace, and of all his people.
I hope you really enjoyed the story because let's face it, Joseph had a bit of a crazy life. I mean, what was going on? First of all, he was the favourite son and then his brothers hate him. Then he gets thrown down a well and sold as a slave, only for him to end up with a great job in a really good household. Then he gets thrown into prison, only to end up meeting royalty and then being in charge of an entire nation of Egypt. Like, what's going on? But do you know who is in charge? The whole time was that God was in charge. Now, Joseph was in prison for at least 2 years, and I reckon in some of that time he probably doubted that God had it all under control. And maybe sometimes we do that too. I don't know about you, but homeschooling and not being able to see friends and family were not in my plan for 2020. But we have to know that God is in charge because God is good, He keeps His promises, and He has good plans for us in the end, just like He did for Joseph. Now, Joseph really trusted in God. So how about a few more trust games just to help us think about that? But first, I'll need a volunteer. So I'm going to do a little trust experiment with Gideon. Giddy, do you trust me?
No.
He's very worried he's going to get wet, and he should be worried because here into my plastic bag I'm going to pour Giddy some water. Are you scared?
Yeah.
I'm scared for my floor. Okay, we're going to seal it up, look. And you can try this one at home. I'm going to put it in the activities. And then Gideon, we are going to stick sticks in the water. Okay? Still good? And hope that you don't get wet. Oh, so far so good. Should we do another one? Ready, kids? No?
I'm not ready.
Looking good. You were right to, well, you didn't trust me, but enough to stay there. And there's another one. Hurrah! Experiment number 1 complete. Okay, so now for trust experiment number 2. Now, Gid, you don't actually need to trust me too much for this one because nothing bad is going to happen if it goes wrong. So, you still don't trust me. Okay, thanks, Gideon, son. I'm going to blow this balloon up here. Now, this is in the activities, so you can give this a go if you would like to. And they are on the website, thebeaconchurch.com, under Kids Connection. And I have here another skewer. Now, I really hope this works. If you don't like popping balloons, you might want to mute your sound now, because after I've done this experiment, I am going to pop it. Okay? So if you don't like balloons, mute now. So who thinks I can get this wooden skewer through this balloon? It's just a regular balloon. I just put some sparkles inside. So here we go. Oh, so far so good. And there I have it, a balloon on a stick. Did you trust me that I could do it? No, Gid says no. Ready, Gid? I'm going to pop. Great job, everyone. I hope that you really enjoy the activities this week. You can try both of those 2 out. And don't forget to post any pictures on the Facebook group and join us for the chat later. Have a fantastic day. I will have lost the moustache by then. Bye.